Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA for telling my mom to go back to the family she replaced me with. My mother, 42, and I, 22-year-old male, used to be very good friends. I feel like she's all I've ever had, and she's the one who taught me to be as strong as I am today. And her choice to become a police officer has served as a source of inspiration for me throughout my life. I appreciate her and admire her for her courage. I wish things had stayed the way as they were for her. For an idea of what she's been through, her uncle, my great-uncle, was able to arrange for her to be transported to Canada from Kosovo in 1999. When I started university, our relationship began to deteriorate. She despised my girlfriend, despised my university choice, despised the fact that I had a co-op term at a prestigious company in Vancouver. Don't ask, I'm not giving it up. And despised the fact that I had a co-op term at a prestigious company in Vancouver that she despised because she held a moral stance against it. Despite the fact that I agree with her, I think it was a terrific chance. Due to my academic achievements, I will be graduating at the end of the semester and have secured employment with the BPD. My mother, on the other hand, cut me off and informed me bluntly that I would not be allowed to return, so I was forced to go in with my great-uncle and his child, my uncle. Since she sent me a WhatsApp chain message around a year ago, we've been resuming our messaging exchanges, but we've been taking things carefully. Instagram is where I keep up with my mother, although she only posts seldom, and when she does, it's generally anti-war propaganda. I'm so delighted to have a true family again. Can't wait to begin on my new journey, she said in the caption of a picture of herself and her boyfriend holding engagement rings and an ultrasound. I'm not sure what it was, but it seemed to arouse some kind of reaction inside me. Is it true that I am not a member of her natural family? Were we considered insignificant? My disappointment stemmed from the fact that I am about to get the brother and stepfather that I have always desired, and she couldn't even take the time to personally inform me of this. So I waited to see how long it would take her to call me to tell me the news, but she never did. My mother paid a visit to my great-uncle's house at the end of my reading break 2 weeks ago to pick up something she had forgotten. As soon as she saw me, she pretended as if nothing had happened, telling me how proud she was of my graduation and other things. She has not yet admitted that she is engaged to be married. I just told her not to be concerned about my graduation and to return to the family she had replaced me with. Then I left and did not return until she had returned to her residence. My uncle informed me that what I did caused her to cry and that I was a jerk to her, and my great-uncle told me that I should have handled the situation in a more mature manner. I'm sorry because she was reaching out to me, and since then, things have been tight between my uncles and myself. Story 2. AITA for not letting my nephew who recently came out live with us after getting kicked out. His father was not happy when Tyler, my 18-year-old nephew, came out this week, and he was not the only one. My sister asked if I would be willing to allow him to stay with me until her husband had calmed down and allowed him to come back in with them. I have a strained relationship with my nephew as a result of his prior behavior and the fact that he has been a bully to my son, 15 years old, since they were children. Tyler never appeared to grasp the concept, which we tried to teach him many times throughout the years. I limited my interaction with them since my sister didn't do anything because she had a boys will be boys attitude toward them. Tyler then turned on my child on social media the next year. In the months leading up to it, my child had gone through something terrible, which I will not go into detail about here, but it had left him feeling quite anxious about going out. A pleasant post about going to the grocery store by himself for the first time in months, without suffering a panic attack, was shared on social media by him. Tyler selected the term to describe him, questioning, why is he getting so worked up about something so stupid and insignificant? Tyler was well aware of the difficulties my child had been through, so I addressed him right away. He refused to apologize since, in his perspective, he was only amusing himself by giving him a hard time and did not want to hurt him in any way. This time, I advised my sister Tyler to maintain a safe distance between herself and my son. It makes no difference to me that Tyler is in close proximity to him because of this new predicament. I am unable to put my faith in him, despite his promises that he would not do anything. He's done it before while I'm not around, and I didn't realize it until my child pointed it out to me. That's why I seem to be acting in a jerkish manner toward him at this difficult and sensitive moment for him. My wife and I decided that we could assist him in finding a place to stay. Our other relative lives a long distance away, and he is still in school, but that we would not be able to accommodate him in our house. Tyler is required to be with family at this time, and the situation at their house is difficult, so she declines. She's working to de-escalate the situation as much as she possibly can. However, she believes it will be a long time as her husband does not want him back in the house. If things had turned out differently, I would have welcomed him into our family in a heartbeat if the circumstances had been different. However, I will not agree to it if it means placing my child in risk of being bullied. Because of Tyler's current situation, my mother feels I'm not being a good uncle and an a-hole, despite the fact that Tyler has been cruel to my child and has tormented him. It's a far more severe situation than that. Despite the fact that they are both on us about it, we have to refuse. AITA. Update. It seems like my sister and Tyler have deceived me, or at least came close to duping me. My mother maintains that she was unaware of what was going on, and she is now furious with them as well. I had the opportunity to speak with my BAL, Tyler's father, over the weekend because, despite Tyler's heinous behavior, I was appalled by any parent who would forsake their child because of their orientation. I got in touch with him to have a discussion, not only to share my thoughts with him, but also to find out why he was behaving in such a strange manner. In fact, as I previously indicated, his late brother was gay, and he never expressed any concern about this fact. It struck me by surprise to see him reply in such a nasty manner. Alternatively, maybe he always been privately opposed to it, or perhaps things are different now that it's his own child. I'm not sure, which is why I contacted. He had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. As a result, there was a lot more to the story than my sister was telling me at the time. This was months ago, and Tyler's expulsion had absolutely nothing to do with his decision. I have my doubts since it seemed to me that he was striving to act innocent in order to avoid getting spit on by others, until he went to my sister and asked her to tell him exactly what she had told me, and she did so without hesitation. He and Tyler battled for a while, and ultimately my sister informed me that her husband did not push Tyler out of the home because he was, despite the fact that they had been aware of it for months. The previous day, Tyler had lied about getting into some trouble at school, and while he was being punished by being grounded, Tyler had stolen his father's automobile without permission and caused damage to it. According to him, everything seemed to be piling up against him. Notably his behavior toward their other children, which was the straw that broke his back and drove him to order Tyler to leave. After the whole ordeal, I was irritated with my sister. She expressed her regrets 1,000 times. It was her only explanation. She was anxious for Tyler to have a place to stay and hoped that the entire LGBT problem would cause me to reconsider my decision until her husband calmed down and allowed Tyler to return to the country. I spent a day to gather my thoughts before telling my mother about my sister's deception. Our confidence in our decision has increased, and we no longer feel like jerks for refusing to allow him to join us. Tyler is now living with a friend. I'm not sure whether his father plans to allow him to return home, but one thing is certain. He will not be staying with us any longer. None of it is acceptable for what he's done to my child, and it is more unacceptable after discovering all of the reasons why he is no longer living with his parents. It is now their responsibility to resolve the situation. Reddit, thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas with us. I simply wanted to share this new piece of knowledge with everyone.